Welcome to another edition of BS with Bob Schmidt. And, my guest this time is a guy that actually got me back into podcasting. I was out of podcasting for quite a few years after being in radio and being a bartender. A friend of mine from high school, Kumar, and got a hold of me about a year and a half ago and said, "Hey, Bob, I know that you're a radio guy. I know that you have podcasts. I know you're a bartender. You want to talk a little bit and start a podcast." So Kumar and I actually worked on a podcast for a year, and now we're into the second year of it. And for the first year, we did it every single week. We did a Fall Rise Give podcast every week for an entire year. And now we're down to just doing one a month. But Kumar, welcome to this podcast, and thanks for getting me back into the swing of doing the podcast thing.
Yeah, it's a fun adventure. So I'm glad you're doing it. I'm glad that I can be a part of it in any small way. Podcasts are fun. I was listening to quite a few of them over the last week or so. There's some amazing podcasts out there, and people love listening to insights and good dialogue. So I think we're able to have good banter. So I'm glad that we're doing it.
Yeah, I appreciate that you awoken a sleeping, not a sleeping giant, obviously, but you rekindled a passion that I had. And I know when you and I first started doing them, I was doing them in my kitchen, and I had a Blue Yeti mic. And over the course of the last year and a half, I've upgraded, and I've got a better mic now. I've got better headphones and a new studio, and now I'm in basically a soundproof room, not the entire thing, because it's basically a closet, but it's helped out a lot. It's been pretty cool to do that. But the thing about you and I is that we've got a history that we went to high school together back in the 80s.
Yeah.
Which you think about the 80s, man, that's 40 years ago.
That's crazy if you think about it, isn't it? Oh my God, we're getting old.
Because sometimes I look at the time, and somebody says 40 years ago, and I think 40 years ago is like the 1920s, because we were born in the 60s, and I'm like, no, man, 40 years ago is in the 80s. You're like, oh, son of a bitch.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. I can't believe how old we've gotten so far, and I still feel like a kid in high school. And sometimes I still feel young at heart.
Sometimes, but then as I'm looking at you now and you're looking at me, gray beard, losing hair. I'm actually growing my hair out because my son's girlfriend said to me, she goes, "Bob, what do you look like with hair?" I said, "You know what? I haven't had hair in years, so I started growing it." And I said to Monique, I said, "I must be getting taller because my head is actually growing above my hairline." And
sure.
It's a bitch getting old. So Let me ask you this: have you ever had a straight razor cut, a straight razor shave?
Yeah.
You have? I've never had one, and I've always wanted to have one. So tomorrow I am going to a place in La Crosse and getting the whole deal. So I guess they heat a towel and do whatever. But it's $50 to get my head shaved, and I've talked to a couple people about it. They're like, "You're spending $50 to get your head shaved?" I'm like, "Well, you know what? It's a one-time thing. I'm going to do it, and I'm going to enjoy it."
That's awesome. I didn't know what you were talking about before, a straight razor thing. I actually haven't gotten it done.
No.
I was confused. I thought you were just talking about a regular razor deal. But that sounds like a fun event. Man, that's going to be almost like a massage for your head at first.
That's what I'm hoping for. I mean, if it's great, maybe I'll do it again. Just like you ever had a pedicure?
No. No pedicure.
Kumar, you know what? You live in Seattle. I'm sure there's places there that you can go and get one of those. The first time I had one, I'll tell you, I was in a small town in Nebraska about 15, maybe 20 years ago. And my ex-wife said, "You should get one." I'm like, "No." I said, I don't want people looking down. No. So when we were on vacation, we went to the small town and I got one and I fell in love with it. And I get them done probably 3 times a year now.
Oh, wow.
What does that entail? If you've never had one, so they basically soak your feet in water, and it's got some chemical or some salts or something in it, and then they massage your feet. They do a pumice stone on your feet. Then they cut your toenails and shape them, and then the best part is to give you a calf massage. And a calf massage, I'll tell you what, it's $35. You sit there for an hour. You sit in a chair that's got a massage. It's pretty phenomenal, man. You should do it.
Okay. Okay. Um, yeah, there's a couple of places blocks away. There's two places here in the neighborhood where I live in the city that have it. So I should definitely try one. I'll try to go in there with my wife one of these days. That'll be a nice treat for both of us.
Yeah, and don't tell
We'll
her you're
call it
doing it.
the pedicure day.
Just kind of say, "All right, honey, let's go. We're going." Do that, and then head on. So I want to kind of circle back to like when we first started talking to do our podcast, Fall Rise Give. You were on a mission, and you had quit drinking, and we talked a lot about that. So I was talking to my son. My son quit drinking probably 5 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, and he was telling me about one of the beers actually that you were telling me about. That's an IPA, but it's a non-alcoholic IPA.
Yeah,
And
athletic.
I can't remember what it was called.
Athletic.
Athletic, yeah. So we're gonna actually meet up tomorrow because I'm gonna go to La Crosse tomorrow and then get the haircut after that. And we're gonna go and have a couple of athletics at a place. So I'm kind of looking forward to trying a non-alcoholic IPA.
Yeah, it tastes like a real IPA to me. It's a little lighter, but it's not
Mm-hmm.
watered down. There's some hazy water IPAs out there that are a little more lighter, but this one actually tastes like a light IPA. But it tastes pretty good to me. So I love
Right.
enjoying them. I had some on Saturday night. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. So the funny thing is that since we started talking, obviously I was a I can't think of the word right now. An ally when it comes to drinking, being a bartender and all that. I can see both sides, but I've really cut down on my drinking myself just since we started talking. Just because I've heard some of the stories that we talked about on the Fall Rise Give podcast, and I heard about some of the struggles that a lot of people have gone through. And honestly, I don't really miss it. Like this weekend, we went on a UTV ride, and I had 3 beers for the day rather than 10 beer. You know what I mean? So it's not
Well,
like I quit drinking altogether, but it's like I'm drinking 3 rather than 10, which is kind of a big deal.
yeah, it makes your life a lot easier to manage, I think.
Yeah.
A lot of people in the fitness world don't drink because the health effects of it. There's people who obviously shouldn't be drinking because it's a disease for them, and they get an adverse infection kind of a thing from it. But it's a big deal for a lot of people. But for a lot of 90% of the population doesn't have an issue with it. So drinking in moderation is the key. I think everything in moderation, even moderation, sometimes it should be in moderation. So
Moderation in moderation.
yeah, yeah. Sometimes it's okay to have a few.
Yeah, sometimes it really is, and I think that too with the introduction into the world of, because THC is kind of one of those things where it's acceptable in a lot of like in Seattle. Isn't marijuana legal in Seattle?
Yeah,
In
legal here.
Washington?
Yeah.
In Minnesota it is, in Illinois it is, Wisconsin where I live it is not. However, they do have like Delta 8 and Delta 9, and I really enjoy some of the Delta 9 drinks that they have that are out there. So I'll have a drink, one of those THC drinks, rather than having an alcoholic drink. And one of those drinks does as much for me as 5 or 6 beers, because I kind of feel just mellow and ready to just kind of relax and talk shit.
Yeah, ready to rumble. Yeah, no,
Not really ready to rumble, but ready to just kind of BS or whatever.
yeah. No, I mean, I think it's a lot more accepted out west, and a lot of major blue collar states, if you want to call them that, not blue collar, but just blue states. I think there's a lot of health benefits for a lot of people with anxiety and joint pain with CBD and things like that. So I think it's much more acceptable out here in a lot of places.
Yeah, you know what, and it also relaxes me a whole lot more. Anyway, I just wanted to invite you in and talk to you a couple minutes on this podcast, the BS with Bob podcast. Thank you very much for igniting that spark again, for having me get back into the whole podcasting thing, and wish you luck with stuff that you're doing.
Sure. Tell me a little bit more about the podcast. What's your mission? What's your vision? What are you trying to do?
So my whole thing back when I first started the BS with Bob podcast was 9 years ago, 8-9 years ago, and I did it I did it every week. I kind of like with the Fall Rise Give podcast. I did it every single week for a year, and I didn't gain any traction, and so I shelved it for 5 years or 6 years. And when you and I stopped doing our weekly podcasts, I thought, you know what, I'm just going to kind of roll off and do this one again. But I really like entrepreneurship. I like marketing, and I like entrepreneurship, marketing, and I'm losing my mind, honest to God. And basically talking about how people help their businesses. And it's funny because the word help is something that you and I talked about with the Fall Rise Give podcast too, is like, once you start helping people, that's when things kind of move on and you turn into a better life. So I like entrepreneurship, business, and marketing are the things that I really like to talk about, and just kind of the stories that get people to that point.
Yeah, that's awesome. There are a lot of small businesses out there that are a heart of this country, and I think even small to big businesses, there's a lot of strategy. There's a lot of marketing tactics and strategy that people can go through and work with. And entrepreneurship, I'm not a stranger to that world either, having started a few companies.
Well, you've had
Most,
some good success with companies too. I mean, you sold a business for over $1 million, and you had another business while you were just out of high school or just out of college. And I
yeah,
mean, you've had that opportunity to do so.
yeah. Entrepreneurship is a big deal. I think it's amazing. People should, especially when they're young, think about starting a company. Look for a problem to solve, read up on it, and really try to research as much as you can about the problem statement, create a vision for your product, understand customer pain points. If the problem is big enough, or even if it's small enough, there's a niche out there, identify a solution and take it to market. It's as simple as
Hmm.
that. Identifying a problem, getting a solution for it, and if it's a niche area, it's a really good way to start that way for a small business, or it can turn into a big business. I mean, Amazon started out with just solving the need for books, right? They wanted to be able to
Hmm.
sell books online because it was hard to go find a book in a bookstore. You're sitting there through shelves trying to figure out where the book is and things like that. So that was a perfect thing. Then they went on to music, and then they went to electronics, and so, yeah, try to find the small problem, and you never know how big it can go. Just have a
You
vision
know,
for what you want to do and make it work.
we just finished with Amazon Prime Day. It was like last week, and so I was just kind of typing in what can you find at Amazon that you didn't think. You can buy ice cream on Amazon.
No,
So it takes it takes 5 to 7 days to get things delivered where I live, because I live in a small town. I live in a
yeah, yeah,
village,
yeah,
191 people, and it takes. But I could have ordered ice cream and had it delivered to my house. I'm assuming that they put it in dry ice when they ship it, which
yeah,
is
yeah.
which is
I've
crazy.
actually
Which is
had ice cream
crazy.
delivered to my house. There's a really amazing ice cream shop called Salt and Straw. It's
Hmm.
based out of Portland, Oregon, and it's the best ice cream that I've ever had. There's lines out the door every single time that you go there. They finally have two in Seattle now, and they have one more that they're opening up in my neighborhood, actually, about 8 blocks from my house. And back before they had any in Seattle, for a birthday of mine about 5 or 6 years ago, I actually ordered 6 pints, and they delivered in dry ice. It cost me like $70 for 6 pints, but it was worth it because it was my birthday gift to myself.
Right.
And so yeah, you can deliver ice cream through dry ice, and so that's how they do it.
It's crazy. Like you said, started off Jeff Bezos selling books, and then now you can buy anything from books to ice cream to drones to all of this equipment that I have here. Most of the stuff was bought through Amazon.
Oh yeah, it's a great company. It's just right down the street from my house. It's a huge complex of buildings. I mean, it's just so happening there right now. Somebody's protesting something down there right now, and my office building just sent an
Shocker.
email saying that somebody's protesting, and not one individual, but a bunch of people that are protesting it blocked the entrance to our building, and so they're telling us to work from home today.
Oh, nice. Well, it's a good opportunity for us to have this opportunity to talk. So, one of the questions that you and I always talked about when we did the Fall Rise Give podcast was, how do you want to be known? So I'm gonna wrap up this podcast of BS with Bob and Kumar. How do you want to be known?
Um, you know, I haven't thought about that question at all because even though we do it in the podcast, but let me thinking about it quickly off the top of my head. I I just want to be known to be able to shed some positivity in this world. I bring this enthusiasm, which is like the positivity in a professional manner, this energy, and I want to be able to touch as many people as I can with positivity. Some people to help be more resilient, help people live more peacefully, and help people live with a soulful purpose. And I'm still writing my book, the Fall Rise Give. I'm about to take it to publishers. If I don't get a traditional publisher, I'll still go to self-publishing. But I am going to publish this book. It's called Fall Rise Give. It's how to live through the chakra path for resilience, for peace, finding peace, and then to live a soulful purpose of your life. So yeah, I want to bring a little positivity in this world and give people tools to be able to live a more resilient, peaceful, and soulful life.
Thanks so much for listening to the BS with Bob podcast. Basically, it's just me pulling up the metaphorical bar stool and chatting with everyone from entertainers to educators to business owners to marketing gurus. You know, people who've done cool things, survived weird stuff, and have a good story to tell. Please like, subscribe, and share the podcast.